just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
One debate that's going to last the entirety of the 2023 offseason for the NFL is whether or not Brock Purdy or Trey Lance should be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, what Brock Purdy did after Trey Lance went down early in the season and then Jimmy Garoppolo went down shortly after him, being Mr. Irrelevant, being the third guy on the depth chart, for him to help his team reach the NFC Championship game is very much praiseworthy. His accomplishments are unexpected, and I think a lot of people bet against him, especially early on in his brief stint as the starter for the 49ers. He did exactly what was asked of him. He had simple plays where he got the ball to his playmakers on short, easy throws, whether it was Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, all the great players that were within that offense. Getting them the football was what was asked of him, and he did it at a very high level without turning the ball over. That is what helped get them to the NFC Championship game until he was injured. But we need to remind ourselves, what is the role of a great backup quarterback in the NFL? It is to keep your offense on schedule. It is to not go out there and make mistakes. And when the starter goes down, who is usually a lot more athletic, can make bigger plays, your job is to just make sure that your team does not lose. And that's exactly what happened with the 49ers. We saw some of the limitations that Brock Purdy had when they played the Dallas Cowboys, which was one of his most difficult opponents in that stretch of games that he played. We need to acknowledge that most of the teams that he faced off against were not very difficult opponents. And while a lot of people want to debate that had he finished that NFC Championship game and did not get injured, that they could have won, I push back and think that the Philadelphia Eagles still would have won that football game. Now, we need to really pay attention to here that Brock Purdy is no better than a higher upside version of Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew got a ton of praise for what he did early on with the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, the minute that the Jaguars were in a position to replace him with a more talented player, they did exactly that. Brock Purdy, if he starts a full season, NFL defensive coordinators are going to know how to stop him. His physical limitations are going to prevent him from exceeding and improving and providing a larger impact than what he had already last season. This is an older quarterback. This is a guy who's already at his ceiling. Conversely, Trey Lance, the man who was supposed to be the starter at the beginning of the season. Why are we so quick to give up on Trey Lance when no one wants to acknowledge the one game he was a full-time starter in, he played in a monsoon after having a career in college where he played in a dome and also playing in San Francisco for most of his practices for his whole rookie season. He is not used to the rain that he endured in Chicago in that first game. And then his next game, he suffered a serious leg injury. Why are we quick to bail on Trey Lance after one game and say that that is enough, but are still willing to commit to Brock Purdy and say that 6 or so games is not enough games to know for sure if he deserves to be that long-term starter? He still has more to prove. He's got a lot more to accomplish. I argue that Trey Lance is the best chance for this team getting over the hump and winning a Super Bowl. Good, average quality quarterbacks to below average guys like Brock Purdy help teams win games. But the best athletes in the NFL, the best quarterbacks, the most explosive, physically gifted quarterbacks are the ones that win Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes just did it. Joe Burrow got to one last year. Matthew Stafford got to one last year. Josh Allen is close and fighting to getting to a Super Bowl. And we all can't forget that Jalen Hurts was the man who led the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl on the NFC. Look, Brock Purdy, what he did is commendable. His accomplishments are fantastic. But if the San Francisco 49ers want to win a Super Bowl, they need to give Trey Lance another opportunity to be the starter and to lead this team. He is the better athlete. He's got the bigger arm. He is the better runner. He is the more dangerous player for opposing defenses to prepare for. And that's why they need to go with Trey Lance. Comment below what you think. Let me know if I am wrong or right. Also hit that subscribe button. We'll be back with more.